zoom in. Haha, zoom in. So this is the Barber of Seville. It's 45 by 60, mixed media on Hanmul. I'm not familiar with that term, so hopefully I'm pronouncing that right too. Colleen says, proceed with caution, life on the fringe with your Barber Figaro. Artwork inspired by the Art Deco era with many levels of hidden perception for the operatic lay and aficionados alike. Color is great, value is better. Strap yourself down for this hilarious opera buffa, or you might be caught hidden, discovered, disguised, launched out of the window, or married off. Comic opera at its best. So that is Colleen. And once again, these are all available to view on our event pages. So the First Thursday's Facebook page, they'll be on there as an album, and the Orlando Museum of Art events Instagram, they'll be on there also. The voting for these, we're going to do it this month. We're going to do just one solid vote on next Thursday. I believe it's the 28th. Yeah, May 28th. So we'll start the vote then, and then probably like hopefully in time for the live session, we'll have a solid like best in show winner. So thanks everyone for tuning in. Those were our 4 artists. I think this will be shared afterwards. So if you missed any that we're talking about here, you can go back and watch this video, I believe. And of course, all of this info is on those pages as well. So you won't miss anything really, except my face. Let's see, what else is there? Yeah, our hours are a little different coming up. So that's gonna look like the museum's opening on the 2nd to members, and that runs through the 5th of the month. Let me make sure I'm getting that right. Yeah, so Tuesday, the 2nd of June until Friday, the 5th, will be open. And again, all this info, I've pinned the news thingy in the comments here so people can keep up with us, what we're doing. And just, yeah, make sure you check the hours, because everything's changing all the time. So that'll be that. And then on the 8th, I believe it is, or 9th, sorry, June 9 will be open to everyone again at a limited capacity, 25% of our capacity in the galleries. So we will have requirements like everyone will need a mask, 6 feet social distancing, pretty standard stuff. Trying to keep everybody as safe as possible. So that's how we're doing that. Oh, David, one of our educators, did another video for week 2's artists that was we premiered last week. So everyone can go check that out. I think that's on all of our pages. David basically just sort of looks at each piece and kind of goes over on a much more professional level than I'm able to do. Much better insight. So go check that out for sure. Week 1 was great. I'm sure week 2 is even better. And then we'll have week 3 done next week for his video. So should be cool. Let's see. Oh, I just got Colleen's invitation. Let's see what happens. There you are. Do I have you muted? I might. Or, oh, there you go. Okay, sweet.
Oh my gosh, we made a connection.
Yeah, we're here.
Woo!
Insane.
Just you? Is it just you and me and the whole planet?
It's just you and me. Yeah, and well, 13 other people.
But now, usually all the other people show up. There are other people?
I have 13 people right now, is what it's telling me.
Okay, because sometimes Zoom puts all. Let me see if I can change my screen, because it usually then.
Oh no, it's just the two of us on here. Yeah.
Where's the other people?
Oh, I meant like viewing right now, the live stream.
Okay, viewing. Let's see. Switch to gallery. Oh, that's just us. Gallery.
Yeah.
All right. Oh man, so you had what happened today? Because Facebook was going to happen.
Today was crazy. So like, I mean, I knew earlier in the week that I've just been troubleshooting since then, but Facebook in November took away the like option to do like split screen, like interviews in general. Okay. So we had to find an alternative, and I guess a lot of people have been using Zoom, and this seems pretty okay. So
sure. Now I have seen one on Facebook, and they just actually then the camera just went like solely onto that person, whoever was speaking. So yeah. Instead of doing the split screen, they just changed screen, I guess I would say. So in the end, lots of experience. Who knows? Mm-hmm. So anyway, hello, whoever's out there watching. And I'm not in my art studio. And so I don't have my extra piece of Barbara of Seville. So because I'm headed over to another show. But it's a great opera. I can tell you about that. Mm-hmm. Can you show the image while I talk about it?
I was just trying to. It looks like it can either have the piece up or you only. Okay. So I can try putting the piece up and then there we go. See if you can just talk.
There we go. We'll do that. And so of course, when I talk about Italiano in an opera, I must use the Italian language. So two things. I paint for Opera Orlando. This is a piece from last year's 3 big repertoires that they did. And so this is a series of operas, kind of like in modern day, we have a series of movies, you know, Marvel 1, Marvel 2, so on. Well, they did that rarely actually in opera. So Barbara of Seville is another one that's a classic, funny bouffant. And this was actually performed at Casa Felice in English. And my husband and I went on a date. I had painted for it. And truly, in our 35 years of marriage, I had never had laughed so hard and had such a great date, because since it was in English, then we could be completely on point with all of the jokes and all the intrigue that takes place. Mm-hmm. So here in my image, again, I'm always painting for multiple audiences. An audience just to capture people's attention with color and form. And then to also to garner for my opera patrons more of the story. So in the center, we have even our dark figure. Usually you put dark figures in the back, he's in the front. Our Barbara of Seville with his crazy hat. This is something they would wear historically, I think, to sharpen their blades. But the barber, so we'll go into him. His name is Figaro. Figaro, Figaro, Figaro. Right. So he is a jack of all trades. In the town, he has the gossip of everything that's going on, all the things that are happening. He's a veterinarian, he's a surgeon, he's he's a pharmacist, he's a herbologist, so he can cure anybody, and all the women fawn over him and come to him. Well, behind him now, in the artwork you're looking at, are 2, I'll call them the orangey red figures. One is the woman, her name is the Countess Rossini, and she is falling in love with the Conde de Almaviva. He's the guy with the flower in his hat and the mustache. So, but the kind of almost like in many operas, the overhead above the barber is this man with a dark face, gray hair, mustache, and he's wrapped his arms around everybody because he's the control freak in the opera. He is the Dr. Bartolo. He's actually the ward of the girl, but he also wants to marry her in a sneaky way. So the Count and the Countess want to marry each other, but he's always trying to foil it. The Barbara of Seville is trying to help them. And then if you look closely in her hand, she has a secret note. And I hide elements. Also hidden within her clothing is a secret key, so that she gives those to her lover, the Count, so they can meet in the attic and escape, because there's many people all trying to foil their plans. Now, I also love what Dali and Picasso were doing years ago when they were doing impressionistic art and cubism and all the things. They were experimenting with actually adding sand into their paintings and photography. So at the very bottom of this whole piece of artwork is an actual photograph that I have put onto my piece. So that's a piece from an opera. If you get up to it close in the real piece, it's large, showing all the strange, quirky funniness going on, all the jokes being made. And then that particular year, I was studying Art Deco art at different theaters in California. Went out, did hundreds of photographs. So my background scenery is all inspired by Santa Catalina and the city of Avalon in California, which has a tremendous amount of this kind of period artwork. So I love fusing together the old artwork with the new, the colors, and following some of Picasso's ideas. So my artwork is definitely something that the more somebody knows about art history, then they'll see these elements into it. Because as I said before, I also want to sell my artwork, and the more depth I can put into it, and cleverness and storytelling along with beauty and color, that's kind of that's something that I just enjoy doing it, because then it teaches me a whole nother art medium that was a different period piece. So this has many different period pieces that I put together from different time periods. So it makes it very fun. And then, as you saw in my one for Pagliacci last month, then if a piece becomes a rock star, this was tons of months of work, but once it becomes a super rock star, then I will paint it all in oil. This piece here is in gouache, so it's a permanent piece, and it's a lot of work. And even though some of it looks very, let's see, clip art, it isn't. I've taken the time to the Barbara of Seville do these things in a period style that makes it look like a poster. So that's a collage of many, many different things done in gouache. The only thing that's added onto it is the postcard, the photograph of the photograph of the below. So it makes it fun, makes it interesting, and my opera people love it.
Nice.
So, and I wanted to, while I was here, but I didn't have time because of Jonathan's change. I wanted to have a little bit of the Barbara of Seville playing in the background. So that would be clever and fun for our engagement right now with you all on the Zoom. But I just got the Zoom link and I'm about to leave. So I thank you.
All good. Yeah, you're showing somewhere.
Yes. So
do you want to talk? Just plug it a little real quick.
Yeah, sure. And you guys can join from 6 until 9 p.m. City Arts down on Pine Street in Magnolia. They're open. You got to wear a mask. I did a post on that. You got to wear a mask, and you can either call in with your time to get in line, or you can get in line with the rest. And they're kind of doing what the stores have done. As so many people go in and so many people go out, more people can come in. So it's a cycling through with so many people in the building. So the show tonight is called Pompeii Reimagined. And so I actually went to Pompeii in Greece. I do lots of travels and do international art. And the piece I'm exhibiting is something that maybe I'll just say it's called a collagraph. A collagraph is where you take a hard board. If you don't have access to expensive copper plates, aluminum plates, you're making a plate for printing. And so it's really fun. So I took sand into it, and I made a whole series that I call, actually, you're going to see it next month. I'm entering it to your show next month called the Tattoo Event, because it's a woman's body on a paddle that's kind of inked up and tattooed. And so I printed out 4 of the collagraphs onto special paper from France that's no longer exists. It is beautiful. And then what happens is it becomes 2 things, a collagraph and a monoprint all at one time. because then on the 3-dimensional plate that I've made out of cardboard and pastings and pearls and beads and things like that, then I ink it up, and then I can touch on a couple different colors. So each inking is completely unique. So because it's 3-dimensional and different, more, I mean, what we're talking about, you know, I mean, okay, 1/16 of an inch is a high relief for printing. Usually on a print, you know, intaglio, it's much lower. So this piece is the ideas that all of us, John, you, whoever's listening, we all carry around with us paddles in our life. We're going through life, we're maneuvering our course, and our paddle hits a tree or gets chomped by an alligator, something like that. And those nicks and those cuts and those scrapes all reflect our personal journey. And so those paddles are important to us, paddle, you know, just culturally and you know, theoretically in our life. So this particular piece was a mother and child. I call it the mother and child totem, a paddle of life and ash, because in the end, we go to ash, our paddles going through life, but we keep our paddles and we actually pass our paddles on to our family members. So we're showing a mother, nude form, beautiful, and a child through the umbilical cord growing inside of her. So that was a memory, a story of mine. I have 3 daughters. So it's a very personal journey, and I wanted to do a whole series on paddles, physically carved paddles, add more prints, and make a whole bunch of different paddle artwork to show, and then boats to do a big installation at Orlando Museum of Art. I'd love that someday. So I have about like 20 different series that I do, and I come back and forth depending on what's growing in the garden. So that paddle series is beautiful. So that's what's there tonight. Yeah.
Nice. Well, yeah, I look forward to that. I won't keep you from the shindig any longer, but yeah, have fun, and we'll see if we can make it out and check it out.
Well,
everybody's
welcome. I believe it's 6 to 9, so it's open. So it's real people live show. And Jonathan, again, a thank you, and the Orlando Museum of Art for anything you're putting on to figure out a new course direction through the river, through the paddling of Facebook and Instagram and now Zoom. So that's how we, you know, all of us are paddles. You know, we just have to be flexible.
Yeah.
So I'll say this for anybody.
No, go ahead.
Oh, the last message is that for anybody going through COVID, I'm sorry, but I do say this in traveling. We walk into the grocery stores and they're full of food. My gosh, you know, and most of us have electricity. Wow. And so so we just count our blessings, and keep putting more marks on that paddle. But thank you for the Barbara of Seville. And if any of my opera people were out there, probably not, because they didn't know about the Zoom link. So they were trying to plug into the Facebook.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I haven't really figured out all this like multi-screening stuff yet. So
all right,
give me a week or so.
That's right. We're here to be flexible. So thank you. And
thank you.
Arrivederci for all.
Arrivederci. Have fun.
Ciao, arrivederci. Tschüss.
Let me see.
Okay.
All
right, there.
Cool. So that was Colleen. Thanks again for stopping in and chit-chatting. Yeah, that's pretty good.